of the Empire State Building.
Z100, New York.
Hi, Z100. It's Shelly Rome. So excited because I actually discovered you guys a little while ago on my own, and I'm so happy that you're here talking to us. Ex-lovers!
Yo, what's up?
Thanks
Thank you
for
so
having
much
us.
for having us.
Jacob in London. Hi, guys.
Hello.
So wait, can we just discuss the fact that we're both just waking up? We're
Yeah.
both sort of just rubbing our eyes and like we'll get through this together.
Yeah, 100%.
So you guys are an incredible up and coming. I hate the word like up and coming rising duo band from right. You guys are based in California.
Yes.
And I was listening to a playlist like a couple months ago, and I discovered your song. What is it called? King of Capulet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, who are these guys?
Oh,
They're
sick.
amazing. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, so for a lot of the people who are watching and listening right now and are just sort of discovering you guys as artists, like if you could describe, instead of me being like, they're just a vibe, because that's how
Yeah.
I would describe you guys. I don't know, just talk about sort of your essence as musicians.
Yeah. I mean, it's always like a kind of tough question to answer, I feel like, but I would just say like we grew up on Green Day and Kanye. Like those are our biggest influences ever. And I think
totally get it.
Yeah, I think what we always go for is like just being bold in like our art. That sounds kind of like that sounds kind of weird, but we just try like working so hard at being ourselves that like other people understand ourselves. Does that make sense? So like it's pop music. Like it's under the umbrella of pop music, but it's always like changing. You know what I mean? Like there could be one day where I'm obsessed with like Rosalia and Kanye, and another where I'm listening to like the Beatles and some like random gospel music. You know what I mean? It's like the inspiration comes from everywhere. So I think that like somewhat comes out in our music, but also it's pop. Like
But it's interesting that you say that though, because when I was like really, because you guys put out an EP last year, right?
Yeah.
It's called Virgin.
Yeah, like a month ago.
A month ago, okay. And when I was listening to the music, I was trying in my head, because the way my brain works as a listener, and this is awful, I need to box.
Yeah, of course.
I need to box you in so I can almost process you and understand like what you are, right? Like, okay, it's pop. Okay, it's hip hop. It's R&B. And so, but I feel like it's really awesome when you can't do that to an artist. I would only say you're pop because it says in your bio that you're pop. This is not in my head what I call pop music, but in the best way. Not, you know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
appreciate
really cool.
that so much.
yeah. So it's just interesting to me that like your sound is just so.
Yeah.
It's like meaty and like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are words I'm looking for?
Yeah, I mean, like as like a fan of music, like I always want to be surprised. You know what I mean? Like, period. If it's like the same thing over and over, I lose interest. And I think we create in the same exact way we consume. You know what I mean? So we've always grown up, like the generation we grew up in was like, you liked everything. You know what I mean? Like literally we would be listening to like Tyler the Creator and Taylor Swift within the same 5 minutes, you know? So I think like we literally just create in the same exact way we consume music.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a, what's the word? I'm tired. Oh my God. That's a subsequent factor. Like that's a subsequent, like that's what, you know.
I mean, when you boil it all down, like we never really wanted to make music that felt like complicated or hard to understand.
Yes.
So when I hear you say like, oh, like it's just like a vibe, like that's like
That
the
is what
biggest
it is.
compliment.
That's what it
That's the
should
biggest
be.
compliment.
But everyone says a vibe, like, because that's just the word to say. But like, literally, that's the first thing I'm like, I just vibing. Like, but and I'm a lyrics girl. Like, I listen. Like, if I can digest your lyrics, and I don't necessarily love like the melody or it's like I need to hear what you're saying first. And you guys are like really talking about stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like, I mean, that's just like an artist's like duty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I always say like I can't like sit down in a room and just like write a song. That's not who I am. Like it's more I'll be going through something and like really feeling something.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jake, we got to write about this. I'll write a song and bring it to him and he'll produce it. And it's like I think that's what our music sounds like. That's why it's like the lyrics are genuinely just my life. It's not like trying to be anything. Like I sometimes don't even like writing songs. A lot of Virgin was actually really hard to make because it was so like honest. You know what I mean? It was like it wasn't like fun necessarily sitting in a room and like writing these like lyrics about my dad being diagnosed with a terminal disease, like stuff like that. Like you don't want to write about that. You have to write about that. So I hope that like in return, you know, even like what you just said, like people like feel that because it is like I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve, like in every song, whether it's like King of Capulet was us signing a record deal and like not living in one room on one bed together for the first time ever, you know what I mean? And then Sweatshirt on the opposite hand was like my dad being diagnosed with a terminal disease and my life like completely being flipped around and like going through that, never having experienced pain like that ever in my life. You know what I mean? So like that's what it should be. It's like for me it's like a cure all. You know what I mean? Like without music, like at the risk of sounding so cliche, like I don't know what I would do. It's just like it's always what I've done since I was so young. You know?
Wow. But we as fans, like that's all we want in our musicians and our artists. Like we just want to be able to like relate to something that you're saying.
100%.
You know?
I mean, that's always what I did. Like that's what I do as a fan. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's what we both do. It's like, I didn't like go to a therapist. Like I listened to Green Day.
Right.
Right. Like that was me growing up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Although therapy is a pretty good
Oh,
thing.
it's essential. I'm just saying, like, in first grade, you know what I mean? It's like that wasn't where I wasn't like, yo, I need a therapist, but I still felt these things. Like, no matter where you are in life, like, you're going to feel this stuff. And it's like, I think music is always there, like, for the highs and the lows. Like, it should be a soundtrack to life.
Amen.
Amen.
So let's talk about this EP.
Yes.
So it's called Virgin.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, so you mentioned a couple of the songs on the EP. Is there one song though that, I don't know, if, let's say again, you're really starting to grow your audience and people are really starting to, like the way I discovered you, I'm sure every day you're getting more and more listeners, more and more fans. If there's a song that people can check out first as sort of like an introduction to you guys, just to be like, okay, you want to know what we're about, or I don't know, you want to just get a sense of who we are.
Yeah.
Is there one that you think is like...
Yeah, I think Sweatshirt, like, to me is the best song I've ever written.
Okay.
Like, I wrote that on a beach, and I was, like, tucked inside my sweatshirt, just trying to, like, escape. I was feeling super anxious and kind of in a down space, and I thought of the lyric, I find a place inside my sweatshirt that beats all reality. And, like, I feel like that lyric is, like, a window into, like, us. I can't even explain that, it just is. So I think Sweatshirt is definitely... what I would say. And then King of Capulet is what I think is just like, I think those two like on opposite ends are like the most us in the EP. You know what I mean? Sweatshirt's like more emotional and like just wearing my heart on my sleeve. And then King of Capulet I think showcases like our obsession with like hip hop drums and like that kind of feel.
Yeah, that's the one that I was like,
yeah, I love that song. That's definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really so. Okay, so let's talk about your sort of like you guys are a group, but were you like a band back in the day?
Yeah.
Because you met when you were like fetuses, apparently.
Yeah, we met really young. We met in like 5th grade through our little sisters. We grew up in a tiny town in Northern California, like 3,000 people.
Wow.
So I guess we were bound to meet, but we met through our little sisters and we just became like immediate best friends. And I was writing songs at the time and I was like, dude, like you have to learn how to drum to these songs. And he did. We got this like tiny drum set. And we had this song called The Roof. And like we literally played it through one time. He like kind of knew how to drum. I kind of knew how to play music. And like we played it through one time and we looked at each other and we were like, yo, we're going to be the biggest band on the planet. And like, I feel like that naivety and like energy has never left. Like that's still absolutely goal. So it's been from literally 10 or 11 years old. It's crazy.
Wow. How have you sort of starting from there, from forcing him to learn drums and just creating your first song, how would you say you guys have kind of like just developed into what you are presenting to the world today? Like, I don't know.
You want to take this?
Yeah, I mean, our roles as friends has kind of been like the centerpiece for like how we work together.
Yeah.
And that's never changed. But like a couple years back, we started to learn how to produce by ourselves, and that was kind of a big journey for us. So like I do most of the production, but we both like have a big part in that.
You do all of the production.
He's the supportive friend we all need.
Well, he like writes everything, so I guess I could take that card a little bit.
You do all the production.
He's like, own it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say like, yo, like that sounds bad. Like change it.
Okay, I don't like that. No, we need that.
Yeah. Well, no. So we grew up when we started. We were playing like punk music, like super punk, just loud. It was like the goal was just to like piss off as many parents as we possibly could. Like possibly try getting expelled from school and stuff, you know? And then like I think that just like I still feel like we retain that energy like very much, but like he said, it's kind of moved into like we put that energy instead of just being like annoying, like into self-containing it and like learning how to like make music on our own depending on no one else. So like we'll just sit in our living room and Jake will like make beats and all right, and I think it's just progressing that way. We used to have to rely on people to help us, and I think the entire thing now is moving to LA and being like, we're doing this like our way, like by ourselves. Like we wanted to make the music like that we would want to hear, and no other producer was like quite able to do that. You know what I mean? So like we're just like, all right, like let's create our own destiny. Like let's just do it.
Honestly, and that's probably the most difficult thing. I don't know. In the way I see it, it's a really tough thing to sort of come to that realization that no one. Look, as you get further on in your journey, of course, there are people who help along the way as far as just everything. But specifically, just creating the art. Everyone's, I feel like a lot of times waiting for people to like feed it to them, and only because. I think it comes from a lack of belief in yourself. Like, I can't do this on my own. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't play a drum. I can't produce. So to get to that place and then, just be able to like sit in it and be like, we can do this all on our own. And then they'll come to us. I think it's it's just a powerful.
It was a turning point. I have to say, like, I remember a lot of people being like, yo, you're going to waste your time learning how to produce. You're going to, this and that. And we're just like, nah, like, I'm not. We just put our blinders up. We're like, we're not listening to that. And like, it has helped us more than anything. You know, and like literally being able to wake up and make music. Like every song you mentioned, that was us waking up and just being like, let's make this. And they're made in 2 hours, like done. You know what I mean? Like that's super powerful because like you can just like, you can feel something and then just make it. You don't have to be like, oh, that producer can work in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Or whatever. It's like, let's just do it. And I think you're told growing up, like you need help. You need all these people. And I would just say to like anyone, dude, like, the time is now. Just do it. Literally just start. It's like the hardest thing to do is just start. You know what I mean? But
I think there was definitely like a period for us that was a little bit like sink or swim, and we really just isolated ourselves and like pushed ourselves to grow every day. And it feels like it's, getting to the point where like when that spark of creativity comes, we can execute it and be comfortable and not have to like be like wondering how we're gonna make this song into what we want. So it's definitely like it feels good to be in that place.
I love how you say sink or swim because he loves swimming. Like he swims a lot. Like Jake literally goes to the gym and like swims because he has bad scoliosis. So
yeah. Well, it's getting better. Thanks for swimming.
I really thought you were gonna go like a swimming story. I was
like, so tell us your best swimming story. Like,
that's where I'm at right now. I'm in a happy place. I'm in the pool. I'm doing laps.
We're actually planning on quitting music next year. I'm going to be his swimming coach.
Oh, really?
We're going to the Olympics.
I feel like if you told me that, I feel like it could actually come true. I feel like you could make it happen.
Honestly,
like Blades of Glory, but like swimming.
Wait, so you guys are performing tonight in Brooklyn, which is so exciting.
So stoked.
So what is a live show? What is your live show like? What is it? What do we expect?
Yeah, so it's just Jake and I on stage. He drums, I play guitar and sing. I don't know, like. I mean, I would just say like watch it, you know what I mean? But I think our entire show is based off the people in the audience, like period. Like half of our entire show is the audience, so it's been sick for the first time actually having an audience. But it's been crazy because like I mean we grew up like playing shows like all around our hometown, around California a little bit, but like we were just in Toronto the other day and there's like 400 people there, it's like, and it's just. The energy is just insane. Like I will say, I think if we were like given any natural gift, like I think playing live was it. I have to say, just because like from young, it's all we did. So I think like we were so bad at playing music when we were younger. We were like, yo, our show has to be energetic, and like
you have to give them at least energy because you're not giving them anything else.
So it just always was. We always played like we were playing like Wembley Stadium, and like that's always how we approach it. So it's just been a blast. Like I was talking to a friend last night. He was like, his tour been like hard. I'm like, dude, it's just been fun. Like this is the part of the job like that is just pure bliss for me. Like genuinely. I mean, making records can be exhausting. Like playing shows. It's like I mean, this sounds so cliche and cheesy, but it is like truly a high that I don't think you can get from anything else. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Well, that's really awesome. Yeah. Before I let you guys go, I have a question. So you're just getting started. You have this music out. You're doing shows. I mean, you're really working. You're on the grind. You're producing your own music. You guys are really like sort of navigating through this industry. I don't know, 5 years. Like one thing, like you're manifesting to happen to you guys in 5 years, or even not even that one thing when it happens or when you achieve it. Not it happens because when you achieve it and you make it happen, you'll be like, wow, I really made it.
So I know, and this sounds like so far fetched, but
Yeah.
like we just have our goals always are far fetched. Like since we were like 2 kids at 11 years old in our small town, we always just said, "Yo, like we're gonna sell at Wembley Stadium," like because I watched a Green Day video when I was like 7 years old, and they were playing Wembley, and I was like, I said to my mom, I was like, "That's what I'm doing." So
Yeah.
I think like from the get go, like that has been our goal. Honestly, if we sell that stadium out, we'll probably be like, "All right."
You'll retire.
Yeah, like no,
Yeah.
honestly, we're probably like,
Right.
what
What now?
what's next? Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think that's, I mean, obviously that's like the epitome, like that's the highest amount of success I think you can have. But yeah, I think that's like when we get there. Yeah, I don't know what's next.
So I've been doing a lot of meditating, and it's all about like saying what you want and putting it out there, and like only speaking positivity around you, and then once you put it around you, then it goes out into the universe. So I'm gonna remember this, and in a couple years when you guys are playing Wembley, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah,
You'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
You'll just be like, "You're welcome."
yeah. Oh my god! Wait, I have an idea.
Yes.
I can be involved in the show.
Yes, yes, 100%.
Listen, check out the EP.
Yes,
Virgin. You guys
Virgin.
are all over the place, right? You're all over the country.
Yep.
You're touring. You're doing shows. Are we expecting more music, or
Yeah.
are we just like sitting with this for now?
We are.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're about we are. We're about to go on the road with Chelsea Cutler in February and March, which will be amazing. And I think we'll hopefully be releasing music during that tour, and then for sure, like shortly after. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, check out Virgin. I like it.
I like it too. It's really good. It's a vibe, and all the other words that you want to hear when people
Yeah.
are talking about your music. It's
Yes.
just, it makes you feel good.
Thank you. dude.
Or it
Thank
makes you
you.
feel something, and that's what you want, right? You
It
want
makes me
something.
feel like hella bad often.
Well,
But
thank
sometimes you want to feel that.
Thank you for feeling bad so we
Yeah.
can feel good.
Yes.
Ex-lovers, thanks
Yeah,
for coming
thank
by,
you.
guys.
Thank you, thank you.
Yay.
From the top of the Empire State Building,